There is progress in western North Carolina toward recovery. We know that there is much more to do, but we know that the people here are determined and resilient.
North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper there saying that the effort to recover from Hurricane Helene is far from over, but he says he has the help that is promised getting to those who need it. We thank you so much for being with us for the news at 5. I'm Vanessa Rufus. My co-anchor Colin Mayfield has the day off. We are now 10 days removed from those consequential hours where Helene ended up in parts of our state, sweeping away entire communities and families. The storm has now claimed the lives of 115 North Carolinians, a total of 235 across the Southeast. More soldiers, we're hearing, are on their way to help clean up. President Biden has announced an additional 500 active duty troops for the area, bringing the total to 1,500. The governor says more than 50,000 people have applied for FEMA assistance, with more than $6 million in aid distributed. Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich is joining us live from Boone tonight. We will check in with him shortly. He'll have a closer look at the damage and the cleanup efforts. But first, WCNC Charlotte's Jesse Pierre was there with the governor today as he toured Chimney Rock, a community we've now seen devastated by the storm. So, Jesse, the governor used the word resilient to describe the people in these hard-hit areas. That is certainly something that you are seeing firsthand.
Absolutely. One thing from the people I spoke to, they tell me that they will come back stronger than ever. Now, Chimney Rock is known for its history. It's known for its charm. And people I spoke to tell me, you know, seeing it like this has been heartbreaking. And some people have lost everything in the storm. And I'll just step out of the way so you can see some of the devastation behind me. All you have to do is look around and you can see how hard Chimney Rock was hit. Several homes washed away in the river due to the flooding during the storm. Now, Governor Roy Cooper visited Chimney Rock this afternoon. He walked down the row of businesses, shops, and restaurants that have all been destroyed. The grounds are covered with mud and debris. Several bridges, including the State Park Bridge, are no longer standing. Right now, officials tell me active rescues are complete, but there are still 46 people still listed as missing. Cooper says there are coordinated efforts on the state and federal level to provide assistance to impacted areas. Now, the first challenge is really making sure basic necessities are taken care of, like food, water, shelter, and medical needs. Meanwhile, assessment of the damages have already started.
The river merged with the street, so there was no more road. It was all river, and the one brewery knocked into the next building, and all the houses that came down the river knocked into the metal bridge to my neighborhood. I had no one expected the amount of damage we've had.
Again, so much devastation if you walk around in Chimney Rock. Right now, there's only one way to get into this village, and it's blocked off. There are only a limited number of people here, village officials, first responders, and crews who are working. They're working to reestablish power here, clear up some of the debris, and also clear up some of these roadways. But like you mentioned, Vanessa, folks I spoke to here tell me that they are resilient and they are going to be back stronger than ever, and not to forget them when they're back. Live in Chimney Rock, Jesse Pierre, WCNC Charlotte.
Love their spirit. We will not forget them. Jesse, thank you so much. So we want to get back now to the mountains, the Boone area specifically. We mentioned more hard work is happening as we speak to repair homes and rebuild lives there. You could see just a few of the images here, belongings pulled out of homes, personal items left on the side of streets. Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich has been spending the day there. He joins us now live. We see that big pile of debris behind you, Brad. I'm sure this is a very common image that you're seeing around that Boone area.
Yeah, I mean, just a massive amount of apartments here at the Bavarian Village Apartments, where the Winkler Creek came up here and flooded the whole first floor. flooded the Walmart over here. You saw the images from downtown Boone, and now this is all the contents of the apartments out here, as well as all of the sheetrock. It had to be ripped out of the walls and put behind me. So they're still working really, really hard over here. But I want to bring in a local, resident here, and this is a good friend of mine, Kenneth Reese from Watauga Online. And this has been a pretty traumatic event. And we talked earlier about, the things going on. There's still a lot of people being rescued. As we're talking, helicopters are still flying out of the Boone Airport. What is the biggest need up here? Because I think it's really important the folks that aren't in the mountains know what is still needed here now 10 days into this.
Donations are still needed. However, a lot of the resource centers and shelters have been inundated with water and diapers and material things. Much like with any disaster, money is key, because obviously this is going to be a long-term event. And, an important point to think about too is, since this will be such a long-term event, the need to donate and help out right now is great, as it is with any, weather disaster. But this is going to be such a long race that, if you're not able to donate right now, that's okay, because there will be plenty of time down the road to be able to do so.
Yeah, and so one of the things we've been talking about, and I've been hearing from other folks in Boone, Blowing Rock, some of the areas that are starting to come back, business owners are really concerned about the hit on tourism and people coming up here. Obviously, there's been a big push to keep people away, but there may be some areas where we need to get people up here, and maybe in modified tourism. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, local officials here are encouraging more day trips than overnight trips, because most of the hotels and motels are booked with volunteers, linemen from not only North Carolina, but all across the nation are here helping out. And, obviously they have to have somewhere to stay. So the lodging is an issue. As a matter of fact, there is talk, not confirmed, that App State may move their home games off the mountain, because, folks coming to the games would normally get into these hotels and motels, and they're just full right now. So the alternate plan to that is encourage a day trip. Come up, have breakfast, have lunch, have supper, shop at a business that's open if you can. But, respectively go back home, because, everything's booked, and we need those available spaces as more resources come in to help out.
Yeah. And that's, I think, is going to be a growing concern that we're going to see. The folks are already impacted by the storm, but now their paycheck is being impacted by the lack of tourism dollars. So how do you kind of deal with that and deal with that, as well as the fact that, as Kenneth mentioned, what do folks are going to need on November 7th and December 7th and January 7th? So we're going to need help in the long haul. So that's the one thing I'm noticing being on the ground up here. And the people still need help, but it's going to be extended over a long period of time, Vanessa.
That's a really good point about talking about supporting the tourism out there, because, I'm thinking about how many stories we've seen in the wake of Helene of not only, of course, these businesses taking a hit from folks not being able to stop by, but these businesses we actually see in turn turning around and trying to help the community with what they do. So if they're a restaurant, a lot of times they're serving the neighbors in that area who don't have access to food and whatnot. So, if folks are looking to support that, that's a great way to do that, is to support the businesses.
Yeah, and I think that's why money's important, because as I look at these apartments, I know these people are out of their house, but they might also be out of a job because they are waiting tables, or they're cleaning Airbnbs that normally people would be filling up right now. They may be taking part in the festivals that have all been canceled. So when you think about those monetary donations, maybe direct donations to folks and businesses that are impacted, and some way to maybe get that tourism money back up here, because it's going to be lacking over the next several months.
All right. Great points, Brad. Thank you so much. And of course, we'll remind folks too that our Jane Monbrial recently did a piece you can find online about unemployment relief for folks who might be out of a job right now directly because of Helene. So look on our website for more on that. Meantime, let's talk about the roadways, because we know that's a big impact. And tonight we can tell you help is on the way for North Carolina roads impacted by the storm. WCNC Charlotte has learned the U.S. Department of Transportation is pledging $100 million in emergency relief for the state, and that money will offset road repair costs. Hundreds of roads across the state are still closed, including that 43-mile stretch of I-40 near the Tennessee state line. That will be shut down indefinitely while it is being rebuilt. Here at home, folks in Mecklenburg County with uninsured property damage can now apply for FEMA disaster assistance. That could be used for anything from basic home repairs to temporary housing. And the quickest way to apply is to go online to disasterassistance.gov. You can find a full list of requirements on our mobile app and website as well. Meantime, tonight, millions in Florida are bracing for a second major storm in 2 weeks. We're talking about Hurricane Milton. Milton is now a Category 5. It is forecast to make landfall Wednesday evening on Florida's Gulf Coast. As many as 15 million people are under flood watches, and 11 million are at risk for tropical tornadoes tomorrow and Wednesday. Brittany, actually, our household was just helping some of our friends back in Tampa evacuate because they're not going to fool around with this. So I feel for those folks in Florida. As far as the Carolinas are concerned, I am glad to see that we will not be taking another lashing from this storm.
Yeah, that's like the one bright spot, Vanessa. And I was telling people this during the 4 o'clock. I will give you guys, for your friends and family, the same advice that I give my family who also lives in Florida and will also be impacted by this storm. Evacuate if you are told to do so. If you live along the coast, that is most likely going to be the case. I know in Lee County, zones A and B have already been issued to evacuate. That's in Southwest Florida, and this is going to continue as we go through the next few days. Milton, in fact, not just a Category 5, Vanessa, but officially lands on a list of only 2 other hurricanes, which is quickest rapid intensification in the satellite era. We know that warm ocean waters have continued to fuel this. Winds up to 180 miles per hour now. Just 24 hours ago, those winds were at 85. That is a 95 mile per hour increase in 24 hours. This is a major monster storm. And right now it looks like the eye wall looks to be collapsing on itself, which could indicate what's called an eye wall replacement cycle. When that happens, sometimes the storm can temporarily drop in intensity, but the wind field starts to expand. And that is not good news for folks in the state of Florida. Right now, we do have a cold front working through our area. And again, that's the one bright spot we can look at for us locally is no storm to make a bad situation worse after what happened with Helene. This cold front not only helps deflect any kind of tropical impact away from the Carolinas, but also brings us some cooler and drier air, much more comfortable as cleanup continues the next few days. We'll take a closer look at Milton and any impacts to the coastal Carolinas, maybe not us inland. That's all coming up.
Okay, we'll see you soon. Thank you, Brittany. Well, more relief, more help, support coming from the community in the wake of Helene. Some of North Carolina's biggest artists are coming together for a concert in the Queen City, and this will benefit communities impacted by Helene. Billy Strings, James Taylor, Luke Combs, Eric Church will take the stage October 26th for Concert for Carolina. This is at Bank of America Stadium. Explore Asheville is hosting this, and we're told all proceeds will go to relief efforts across western North Carolina. This announcement does come just days after Church signed away the publishing rights to his new song, To North Carolina, for Helene recovery. Show tickets go on sale this Thursday. Don't forget, there's so many ways to help the victims of Hurricane Helene. If you scan this QR code, it will take you to a list of where you can go to donate money, essential items, and much more. Don't forget, you can always donate your time if you feel like you can't dig into your pocket right now. It does mean a lot to those who need that help. Still ahead on the news at 5, we are getting an even bigger picture of Helene's impact. We're going to check in again with Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich joining us live from Boone tonight. We're going to talk about this effort to rebuild homes and lives. Plus this, a shocking discovery along a wooded area in southwest Charlotte. This led to a homicide investigation. We will share what we've learned from police.